Hey everyone, it's Nolan. It's Thursday. What is the date? It's 28th of July 2022, just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. I'm going to have a little look at the markets and just give you my thoughts on a few charts I'm interested in. So a bit of a mixed day really for the US dollar. We had FOMC yesterday and Jerome Powell, well, firstly, rates were increased by, I think it was 75 basis points, which was expected. But then Jerome Powell talked about slowing the pace of rates, which then saw the US dollar drop. You can see this is yesterday's bearish candle here. Now, we haven't seen any follow through really from that candle. In fact, today has been seeing a little bit of buying. Now, if I just take off the moving averages here, so these are two trend lines I had drawn at the beginning of the week. Obviously, we've got this more immediate trend line here, which we could bounce off, but there's also this lower trend line here, trend line number 2, as I've called it. And I think we could still come and test that because we are, well, I say we are, we broke yesterday's low, didn't we? But we're pushing up now. So I suppose it is a little bit undecided. And I suppose if you look at this on a smaller time frame, we can go to the 4 hour. It probably looks more like a range than anything else. So yeah, we could push back up into 107.27, 107.29 and break out, or we could bounce and then come back and push into 106.23. Obviously, yeah, if we break out, look for a correction, look to go long, etc., etc. Break this low here, look to go short towards this trend line. But on the on euro dollar, it's similar. I mean, the euro dollar is basically the opposite chart, but what I'm seeing on euro dollar is more of a bullish flag pattern than the range. Originally I looked at it as a range, but I can see these highs getting lower here and I can see these lower lows. Yeah, we've got these highs here, but you can either look at it as a range, but I'm looking at it as a bit of a bullish flag actually. And what I would like to see happen is this actually push to the upside. So it would mean US dollar to actually drop a little bit more. So maybe down to that trend line 2. We are in a bearish channel. However, what I'm looking at after this bearish move here is our correction. And I'm expecting 3 moves to that correction. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So if we draw it out, 1, so an impulse, a correction, impulse. Back up to the top of the channel, plus we've got this horizontal support here which has been broken but not tested, so it would make sense to come back up towards 103.50, 104 potentially. So I do have a little area, a little price point where I've got an alert here. Now, because I'm looking at this as a bullish flag and I'm expecting, my analysis suggests that this will break to the upside, I want to see a sign of buyers. Now, we've got tip of this wick here, look. So that was resistance on 27th of July 2022. And you can see we've come back into the same resistance and failed to close above it. Now, I'm just going to drop this alert down a little bit more actually. Now going back to the left here, look, once we actually closed above it, a bullish close, we then carried on pushing upwards. And you can see the same level is here as well. We closed above it and pushed upwards. So I think that if we can see an hourly close, maybe even a 30-minute, but okay, I'll say an hour because it's more reliable, an hourly bullish close above this zone, I think that if we can then break the high of that candle, we will see price at least push up to the top here of the bullish flag and then potentially break out. Okay, but if we do get a bullish close above, then potentially you could use a buy stop above that candle. And if you get triggered, as soon as price gets into this zone, it might be worth either taking some money off the table and moving to stop to break even, or just moving your stop to break even, because obviously it could bounce and move back down, but what we want to happen is for price to break out. So this little price point here, I mean this high here, I want price to close above there. So this high, according to TradingView, is 1.01566. so if we can have a bullish close above there, then that could be very, very interesting. Alternatively, if you can't wait around, what you could actually do is place a buy stop above that. I would place, we've got a push up and a bearish candle rejecting that level. So if we were to actually break these highs, this is actually an impulse, a correction, and we're seeing another impulse. I hope that makes sense. So you could actually, in fact, place a buy stop above either this high or this high. I'll place it above this high because it's a little bit higher up. Stop below either this candle low here or this candle low here. If you get triggered, you want to be putting price to break even there at the very least, maybe taking some profit, and then what you're hoping is price comes up into that zone up here which I've identified, and that's going to be over a 3.5 to 1 trade. So that looks really, really interesting, obviously with a very, very nice reward to risk. So that is something to definitely worth keeping an eye on. So euro dollar, I am looking for longs for that, but I need to see that bullish close above this level first before I get involved with that. The only other thing I'd do if I wanted to go long is maybe if we come and bounce off this support here with a morning star pattern, maybe on the 1 hour. You can see we had one there at 1, 2, 3, just connecting those lows, this one, drawing it across, boom, 1, 2, 3, morning star pattern. If you'd have put a buy stop above that high, stop below the low, that would have been a nice little trade. But I think that was during FOMC potentially, so you may not have taken that one, but that actually got to over a 1.5 to 1, 1.6 to 1. There was certainly a 1 to 1 there. But like I said, that was through FMC, so you might not have taken that. I don't like trading through news myself. So that's what I'm looking for on euro dollar. Now, interestingly, euro yen, I'll be looking for a sell. Okay. Daily, I'll just show you what I'm seeing. So euro dollar longs is really more to do with the dollar than the euro. Okay. Euro yen shorts is more to do with the yen than the euro. What I've seen here is a break of the daily trend line, pull back, retest, evening star pattern, 1, 2, 3, and then continued downside. So I'm looking for shorts on this. It looks like, well, we've still got this is the daily time frame, so we've still got 6 hours to go. But if we can close below this level, potentially we're going to continue to push down, maybe to the next support level. So I'll be looking here. That's that last swing low. So potentially if we can close below this low here, then we could be heading back towards, we'll call it 133.18, somewhere around there, around this low here. You could call it the big number 133, but if you're going to target around here, my advice is if you were targeting 133, come out a little bit before. So, you know, 133.10, something like that, something before the big number. So that's if you're an end of day trade, you could think about that. I mean, I'll be looking probably on the 4 hour. That really isn't the best reward to risk at the moment. It's about a 1 to 1, so not brilliant. What I'd like to see is, you know by now, I like to see, I like to use, I should say, moving averages. So we may actually see price push up first. Now, on the 4 hour. Nice bit of support there. Could see that retested before we actually push down. Okay, and that will be a pullback in towards the moving averages as well. Okay, so remember the market moves in waves. So we have impulses and corrections and impulses and corrections. So here we've had an impulse, here we've had a correction, here we've had an impulse, here we've had a correction, and this is an impulse. We might see a correction, before we see the next impulse. Okay, so we might come back into around about 138, reject. You'd look for an evening star pattern if you wanted to trade there, and then look for a short, a sell setup. Okay, so this little zone here, around about 138, I'm actually going to put an alert there. If I see a sell setup, I will probably go for that one, because we do have this support here, like I say. But if I get a sell setup here, I can see this pushing down, breaking lower down, and I'll probably take first targets off around this zone, around that 136.90, 96 zone, and then extended targets down just above 133. Now, of course, it might not play out like that, because that's what I'm looking for. Okay, market to continue cycling to the downwards. Sorry, cycling to the downside. We may actually break this level and do that and do that. So when price comes back, if price comes back into this zone, I'll be very, very interested to see what happens. And then, you know, if I see that rejection, I can look for a short if I still like it. But if we break to the upside, retest, morning star pattern here, could look to go long. Okay, so either way, you know, I'm trading price action. I have my bias, but I'm going to be trading price action. See what the market gives me. If it gives me a signal to sell, then I'll sell. If it gives me a signal to buy, I'll probably buy. But yeah, I can see this continuing to push down because we've broken this daily trend line. Swiss yen also looks interesting for shorts. I have an alert set already. Around about 141.23. Could be inverse head and shoulder. Sorry, not an inverse, a head and shoulder pattern, I should say. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Lovely little zone of support there. Broke. Be nice to come back, retest, and then look for a short setup. Okay, so be looking for, if you remember, I'm talking about impulses and corrections, and potentially coming back into these lows here. There we go, something like that. So I've got my alert set. Nothing really to do until my alert goes off, if it even goes off at all. You know, sometimes the market is very, very impulsive. It was here. Look, it literally had this one candle pullback and then continued all the way down. We could get something like that here. Look at that. That was a one candle pullback there. One green candle. But put my moving averages on. Those moving averages have changed now to bearish. I'd like to see that pull back towards the moving averages, which is also where this level is, and then look for my short setup. So, you know, euro yen, if we can get a pullback on the 4 hour, that one could be interesting. And Swiss yen, pretty much the same. So, you know, they're basically similar trades, if you like. You know, wouldn't necessarily take both of those. You could do if you wanted to, but because they both involve the Japanese yen, it might be worth splitting your risk. So maybe 0.5% on one, 0.5% on the other. But yeah, they're very, very similar trades. So both looking for a little bit of pullback on those, which might mean a little bit of yen weakness, short-term yen weakness. And of course, Euro USD looking for that bullish close above this level here. Nasdaq, I think Mark talked about Nasdaq on the last video. I'm not too sure, but I am looking for this to continue pushing up towards this 12,900 zone here, previous area of resistance back in the 2nd of June. So we had this lovely morning star pattern here off previous support. Obviously, you could trade the buy stop above this daily candle and stop below the low of the candle, or the low here, but the reward to risk then is going to be what's called an inverse reward to risk. So it doesn't really make any sense taking that particular trade at 0.2. We'll call it 0.3. So you're risking, say, 1%, or 1% of your account to make roughly 0.3%. That just does not make sense whatsoever. Now I have looked, and there could possibly be a double bottom forming here. We don't know. This candle here actually surprised me. Bearish engulfing candle there. But we had our resistance here. We broke, retested it, morning star pattern, pushed to the upside, and I did think we were going to come back into this zone and then potentially break to the upside, but we had this bearish engulfing candle, so I don't know whether that was news related or what. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of market trickery, you know. Maybe we thought, okay, we'll get the traders triggered in here, then we'll stop them out, and then we'll push to the upside again. Who knows? But I am looking for some Nasdaq strength back up into this zone. You can actually see, you know, bullish market here, correction, and then bullish market. So I can draw in some trend lines actually. There, you know, your market is bullish. There it's bearish, and now we are on this time frame. Well, arguably we could be turning bearish. Arguably we've closed below this trend line, but if we can break above, then we'll move this trend line up to something like that. So we'll see what happens, but I am looking, after yesterday's candle especially, yesterday's daily candle was very, very bullish. So I am looking for Nasdaq to continue pushing, like I say. But who knows? Because if you look at it like that, you know, this was resistance. So we could, you know, you gotta have an open mind. You can have your bias, but I think it was Bruce Lee said something about you know, being like water or something, flow like water. You have to look that one up because I'm probably got it totally wrong. But you have your bias, but then be open to the fact that you could be wrong. Okay, if my bias is to go long on Nasdaq, I could be wrong. So don't be kind of oblivious to the fact that, okay, well, price is going down, and then still think, well, no, it's going to go up, it's going to go up. Okay, you could be wrong. So read what the price is doing. Okay, so now we're getting, this is a 4-hour candle. It's still got a couple of hours to go, but right now it's a bearish engulfing candle closing. Well, it hasn't closed yet, but it's below our support zone. So we could actually come back and retest 12,120, you know, and then if we've got a Morningstar pattern here, then potentially look to buy from there. So I might be right about this going long. I might just have the timing wrong. Okay, so we might not be going long from here. We might come back down, have a double bottom, and then push to the upside. We're going to have to watch price, see what it does, and work it out. You know, I always say that trading is a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and you know, we think we know what the picture is, and we're given pieces as time goes on, and we fit those pieces together to get the image, if you like. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. We could come back towards our support, I should say, here, resistance twice, because I mean, look, this was resistance, it came back up and tested it twice, came back and tested it 3 times. What's to say that this support here couldn't get tested twice? What if it comes back down into this zone? You know, I'm going to put an alert there right now. I'll be looking to buy from there. Really, really simple. It's support. I'll look for a buy setup, morning star pattern, change of cycle, and then I'll look to buy. So that candle is looking pretty bearish. So we'll see what happens with that. But ultimately, I'm looking for it to come back into this zone here. So Euro yen is looking short. Swiss yen's looking short. Doesn't really make sense actually, because if these look short, then that would mean Japanese yen strength, which would be also if you were seeing Japanese yen strength, that'd be risk off. So you wouldn't expect to see the Nasdaq to go to the upside. You'd expect it to go to the downside. Okay, so we might actually see that a little bit of Nasdaq weakness as we pull back. So yeah, that kind of makes sense now. Euro yen shorts, Swiss yen shorts, Nasdaq potentially short down into this zone here. Then I'd look for buys. If I want to get involved with euro dollar, I want to see a break and close above this line here. Yeah, that's about it really. I'm looking at some other charts as well. USD CAD, but they're not really playing out. Euro pound. No. Euro Swiss has been very, very bearish today. It's trending very, very nicely on the 5-minute time frame. Broke through the CTL earlier, very, very nice bearish close, and it just hasn't looked back since. But I think that move's gone now, so there's no point really talking to you guys about that one. With the move was really after it closed here. But yeah. Keep your eyes on this level. Keep your eyes for pullbacks on Swiss yen, Euro yen, and then see if we get any sell setups. Nasdaq, keep your options open on this one. If we push into this level, look for a reversal. But other than that, guys, I will wish you a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll catch you in the next video. So bye from me and the team, and see you later. Bye.